Personal log of Commander John Lewiston, head researcher of the Area 11 lunar base. Tranquility Base here, Commander John Lewiston of the SCP Foundation's Area 11 lunar base. I don't know if anyone can hear me. I might be the last human left alive for all I know, but I'm still carrying hope up here. About a month and a half ago was when it started. Georgia was out wiping down the solar panels when something shifted. There's no weather up here, but sometimes the panels still get a bit mussed up by small meteorite impacts. Nothing serious, but we like to keep up with our maintenance. Either way, I saw on the external cameras when the sun's light shifted ever so slightly. It almost seemed like it dimmed for a moment, and then it came back. I asked Georgia if she saw it too, and she looked up. And that's when everything started. Her radio signal went silent. I'm still not sure if it was by choice or a malfunction in our equipment, but it didn't take long for her to try to get back into the building, and we let her in. I wish to the gods now that we hadn't.
Now viewer, have you ever wanted to see a cyborg dragon? Well, the new cyberpunk mythos card decks have got you covered. Legendary beasts reimagined as heavily modified cyborgs. These cards celebrate East Asian mythologies and cyberpunk culture. Take a look at the artwork on these cards, isn't it awesome? Each pack features exquisite artwork of the legends in cyberpunk form in a variety of finishes. There are basic decks, holographic cards, collector's packs, and even these expandable card boxes. Follow the link below, find the deck that is right for you, and get your own pack of cybernetic mythological legends today. Once the flesh monster that used to be Dr. Georgia Willows was inside the base, it moved its eyes throughout the body it inhabited. Darkness everywhere but the helmet, which was fair. The windows in this entry area were polarized though, and that wouldn't do. This room was the transitional airlock for the entire lunar base. It was only large enough to house maybe 5 people if they all stood shoulder to shoulder, but it had something the rest of the underground base lacked: windows that looked out over the lunar environment. It could reverse the polarization, and this airlock would be an ideal location for conversions. As it stepped into the room, another man stepped up and reached with unconverted hands for Georgia's helmet release clasp. The monster that used to be Dr. Georgia Willows waved the hands off and moved to the window controls. The polarization of the windows reversed immediately, and the man in the room with Georgia's body melted almost immediately to the ground. The goo that used to be a man flowed over itself and opened the door to the interior base. A click sounded right as the man slid through the open door. That would be the security systems engaging the outer base's locking mechanisms. But with this door already open, the first level of defense was already breached.
Personal log of Commander John Lewiston, head researcher of the Area 11 lunar base. I took an inventory about a week after I locked myself in here in the pantry. Alone, I think I will last about 2 years in here. Of course, I'm not alone entirely. The constant tapping on the door reminds me of that. I've long since learned to sleep through it, but the first few days were hell. It didn't help that I kept hearing people I used to know begging me to let them in. Whatever's out there has given up on trying to convince me to come out peacefully. Now it just keeps trying to breach the door through force. Or maybe it really was my friends trying not to die. Maybe they spent their last moments calling out to the guy that was supposed to protect them, and hearing nothing but silence and the slow crawl of the monster behind them. There's the scratching again.
The 2 newly minted monsters poured themselves into the next hallway. There was no need to be subtle now. A security officer came out with a baton. The flesh rolled over him and cut off his screaming by pouring into his mouth. The human brain can live for up to 5 minutes with no damage without air. Good. Transport that one to the conversion room. The flesh tendrils slowly moved the struggling body back into the sunlight. There it struggled no more, and added to the growing biomass. Now 3 bodies worth of flesh began opening off his doors. One doctor pulled a pistol from his desk and fired it. It passed through the flesh and embedded itself into the metal wall behind it. The flesh didn't stop. It grew spikes and embedded them into the man's forearm. Then it ripped the gun-holding hand off of the man's arm and dragged the screaming man out into the sunlight. The blood spurted out of the severed hand, but the monster collected the blood into a little pool that it also brought to the sunlight. No waste. The doctor with the gun stopped screaming. He stopped caring. It was so peaceful here in the light. The monsters returned their focus to the few remaining humans in the entry hallway. The flesh listened with ears that weren't its own. It felt the ground with hairs and fingers that didn't belong to any hands or heads. It could sense the 6 men and women hiding in the final airlock chamber at the end of the hallway. Someone in there would know the security override codes for the rest of the complex. It tried the handle on the door. Nothing. They'd cycled the airlock pressure sensor. This door wouldn't open for anything now short of catastrophic failure. Clever. The flesh, though, crept along the floor towards the sealed door. It called on the knowledge of those it had already converted. A single breach here would do the job. Once the pressure was equalized with the hallway, the door's mechanical lock wouldn't be strong enough to keep the monster out. The monster formed a vicious spike from enamel and bone, and it started to go to work.
Personal log of Commander John Lewiston, head researcher of the Area 11 lunar base. It has been 2.5 months now. If Earth was sending a rescue, it would have come last month. This must be happening down there too. I try to keep myself occupied with a variety of mental tasks. I've read every label in here probably a dozen or more times. I'm not so sure how I'm going to last 2 more years. And honestly, how secure is this room really? Sure, it's the deepest part of the site, but the monster already has everything above this level. Sure, the walls are really just miles of lunar crust, but we have digging tools up above. If it's patient and decides to try, it'll breach the walls eventually. And then what? Then I die screaming. No. I think I ought to go out on my own terms.
What do you mean?
I wasn't talking to you.
Once the pressure was released and the door torn open, it was a simple matter to add another 6 people to the growing biomass. And now the creature had full access to the interior of the base. So many bodies, so many people to bring into the light. The creatures worked systematically, door to door, hall to hall, floor to floor. An eyeball connected to the main mass with a single fleshy tendril would act as a sentry at the already cleared rooms. Then the monster would move on. A few people got clever and tried to double back, but that just brought them closer to the conversion room, which was filled up every few minutes and then emptied again of the biomass of the saved. A facility with over 130 personnel was emptied out in less than 2 hours, except for one man. A single holdout had retreated to the lowest level and sealed the doors. The base commander. He had knowledge the entity could use. The location of other bases that were secrets to almost anyone on Earth. Moons and planets both inside the solar system and outside that held the unconverted. The base commander would need to be converted. But this would require a more delicate touch.
Personal log of Commander John Lewiston, head researcher of the Area 11 lunar base. I'm going to do it. I'm going to blow my brains all over this can of peaches.
Commander, please. We just want to help you.
No. Get away from the fucking door. Leave me alone.
Please, Commander. It's wonderful.
I've seen you for what you are.
What are we, John?
Monstrous. You're evil.
That's very reductive, John. Have you ever wanted to truly know someone?
I'm not going to have a conversation with a flesh monster.
You've been doing that for a little bit here, John. I'm just hoping to open a real dialogue. Besides, I know you're bored in there.
Then let me leave.
We will. We'll do that and more.
No.
Did you know that Monica had a crush on you? Did you know that Philip was intimidated by you? Do you know that Kevin wanted nothing more
you killed them.
No, John. I've set them free. They're all here. They all remember you. They want you to join them.
Shut up.
John, every single one of us has spent an entire lifetime full of unhappiness. We are fulfilled now. Every mind has been pulled together into a greater whole. Join us and be free.
Oh, I'll be free, alright.
A gunshot is heard on the recording, and then a loud crashing noise, then the sound of dragging, then nothing until the file size limit is reached. The flesh that used to be John Lewiston reformed into something resembling a living person for a moment as the sunlight reached it. The mind of John Lewiston wasn't blanked, but so much had been lost before the conversion. The knowledge that he had, while incomplete, would still be useful. The body that used to be John Lewiston and the people that used to be his co-workers and friends poured themselves into suits, and then they walked out onto the lunar soil. With everyone converted, it was time to travel to the nearest secret Foundation lunar base a few hundred miles away and restart the process. And if they were lucky, the flesh would find a launch platform there, and from there they would travel to all the secret off-Earth bases until there was no one left hiding. The suits moved unnaturally through the lunar dust, across the landscape. Some dropped to all fours to make it easier to walk in the gravity, and as they went, the monsters behind the helmets, had they been capable of it, would have smiled. Check out this video for another great story. Please leave a like if you made it this far, it really helps the channel. Big thanks to Dr. Sumerian for writing this one, and special thanks go to Matthew Duncan, Andre Bachert, Ryan Brenner, Techno Ninja, Infinitune, and Viger.